Folk on Foot has now been going since 2018 and we've got more than 80 episodes. We've been all over the UK, all over Ireland, but still the very first episode sticks in my mind. A trip to the Hartlepool headland with those irrepressible songsters, the Young 'Uns. And I thought, as they celebrate 20 years in music, we should have them back on Folk on Foot. So that's what we're doing today, here at Roseberry Topping. David, Michael, Sean, how lovely to see you on this sunny September day. It's absolutely beautiful here. Thank you for coming back on the podcast. We liked it so much. You were our very first episode of Folk on Foot that went out in 2018. We liked it so much we waited 7 years to have you back on.
Very honoured.
Well, hi Matthew, it's lovely to see you. Yeah, and it's absolutely beautiful today.
And what's this hill that we're looking up
This
at here?
is Teesside's own answer to the Matterhorn. This is the magnificent Roseberry Topping.
Roseberry Topping, that sounds like a dessert from the 1970s. I used to have that, like along with my Angel Delight, I had Roseberry Topping.
And
How is she, by the way?
She's fine.
It's a kind of, if your listeners can imagine the Matterhorn, this beautiful peak, it's a kind of a miniature version of that, and it's absolutely stunning, and hopefully when we get up the top we'll have views across the Tees Valley and across the North Yorkshire moors. It's kind of iconic for Teesside, is it? It's almost like a rite of passage when you're a kid climbing it. I went up for the first time when I was about 3 years old, I think. And it kind of features in a couple of songs of ours that we'll hopefully sing today. It features in the kind of folklore of Teesside folk groups as well. Everyone's had the picture taken up there. There's a great shot of Vin Garbutt playing his whistle up there, the Teesside Fettlers. So it feels nice, and what a great day to bring you here.
Yeah, and we've got a couple of other people with us. Your son Patrick, who I think is about the same age as Folk on Foot.
That's right, he was born a couple of weeks after we recorded that first episode. And I've also got Nessie the dog, who's just done an enormous poo actually.
Oh, I see. she's a golden Labrador, but also
on recording.
she's a retired guide dog.
That's right, she's my wife's recently retired guide dog, so she's 10 and a half. And yeah, now she belongs to Patrick.
Would you like to sing a song down here before we get out of breath climbing the hill?
That'd be lovely, yeah.
Would you mind? What would you sing?
Maybe the Drift from the Land, which is a beautiful Graham Miles song. Graham wrote hundreds of songs, many of them about these moors, about Teesside, about people, communities, and a change in landscape really. And he wrote this amazing song called Drift from the Land, which tells the story of all the young people who left the hills to work in the steel and iron industry in Teesside. Shall we give it a go? All the young fellas have gone to the factory to learn their new trade, making iron and steel. When they pick up their wages, they'll wonder however they managed on the money they made in the field. And it's all the young fellas have gone to the city. All the young fellas have gone to the town, where they'll be earning nearly double the money they ever earned at the Harrow and Plough.
Down in the valley, the sound of a tractor. Young Billy Dickinson, he sits at the wheel. But this time next week he'll be in some odd foundry, casting the iron and rolling the steel.
And it's all the young fellas have gone to the city. All the young fellas have gone to the town, where they'll be earning nearly double the money they ever earned at the harrow and plough.
Down in the hedgerow Billy Dowson is working, the blade of his sickle glints in the bright sun. But in less than an hour he'll pack up his gear, for his last day of working the land has begun.
And it's all the young fellas have gone to the city, all the young fellas have gone to the town, where they'll be earning nearly double the money they ever earned at the harrow and plough. Well, you can't blame the young'uns for throwing the towel in. They'll be much better off making iron and steel. But the drift from the land, it will always continue, till the money gets better for the man in the field. And it's all the young fellas have gone to the city, all the young fellas have gone to the town, where they'll be earning nearly double the money they ever earned at the harrow and plough.
Wonderful. With a final note from Patrick. That was absolutely brilliant. We should say how busy it is here today, because it's a sunny day, and one of the great tourist attractions, I suppose, is this hill, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
So there are a lot of people going past as you were singing.
Wondering what
but
we're doing.
but shall we start walking?
Absolutely.
And then we could talk a bit more about Graham Miles, because
Yeah,
I'd love
that'd be
to
great.
hear more about his story. So, Sean, you're celebrating 20 years in music.
That's right. Yeah.
20 years. So you're no longer the young'uns, are
Well,
you, really?
I mean, we are when you look at some of our audiences, Matthew.
It's all relative, isn't it, when you look at me as well?
I don't know. It's
suppose.
one of those things. I mean, to be honest, we hate the name. It just gets worse and worse. But it's also it's got a good story that reminds us where we come from. But basically, it's what we were called in the local folk clubs, particularly the Stockton Folk Club, when we kind of discovered it in our teens, and we were the youngest people by decades, and the people who were involved with it were welcomed us so warmly and embraced us, even though we were a bit drunk and a bit leery and a bit loud sometimes, because they knew that not many other young people were singing these old songs, these chorus songs.
So it was desperation, really. They didn't have any choice, so they thought, we're just going to have to make do with these people.
And they used to shout, let the young'uns have a song.
Yeah, or the young
yeah.
ones, or the young men, and so when we eventually got given a booking by Ron Angel, the late Ron Angel who ran the club, he said, well, what are we going to call you? And we said, well, everyone calls us the young'uns, Ron. So he wrote that down, and thinking back, if we knew it was going to be this 20-year career and it'd take us around the world, then we'd have maybe thought a bit more carefully about it. But he just felt like, oh well, that's what we're known as. Everyone calls us the young'uns. Why not?
And I wonder if you've taken this opportunity of an anniversary like this to go back to your roots and reflect on where you came from. Because you were singing as a Graham Miles song, and I wonder if you've been thinking about the Teesside songwriters and singers who've influenced you.
Yeah, I think so. In the tour that we've just completed, our 20th anniversary tour, we kind of took it chronologically through the night, and we started off with Ron's famous song, the Chemical Workers song, and then we talked about Graham Miles and mentioned other heroes like Finn Garbutt, Richard Granger, the Teesside Fettlers. We owe so much to that kind of post-war folk revival, in particular the Teesside element of it, because like Ron and Graham and Vin as well, they kind of grew up like us, not realising that they were songs about where we come from. They heard on the radio, they heard Ewan McCollum, they heard Scottish people singing, and they heard Geordie songs, and they thought, oh yeah, there must be songs out there about Teesside, and there are not that many really old ones. So these people set about, to write them and to preserve this heritage and pass it on, and we kind of stand proudly on their shoulders, really.
And I heard that Graham Miles actually went to the local library and asked them if they got local songs, and realising there weren't any, he started writing them.
That's right, it's a great story of Graham going to Middlesbrough Library as a kid and saying, where's the local songs? And we don't have any. And thinking, well, why is no one writing these? And a few years later down the line, still no one seemed to be writing the songs of Teesside and North Yorkshire and the changing times that they were living through. So Graham decided it had to be him, and even though he was a a shy kind of introvert person and didn't like performing, didn't like singing, he set himself this extraordinary 20-year challenge to document the life and culture and history of Teesside and North Yorkshire. And he wrote about 300 songs. Many of them have like passed around the English singing world, and people get up and sing them in Australia and New Zealand, and often don't realise they were written by this man from Middlesbrough in 1970, but because they sound much older, they think they were traditional songs. And it's the same with Ron's song, the Chemical Workers song. Go boys go, they'll time your every breath, and every hour, every day you're in this place, you 2 days nearly dead. It's written on about Ron's experience of working at ICI in the chemical industries in the 70s, but people sing it in Canada thinking it's much older. They think it's like 200 years old because of the conditions it's describing, but it's not. It's a piece of living history from Teesside. And
the song you just sang,
yeah,
is about that transition from the landscape, from the rural workers into the heavy industry that became typical of this place, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. And Graham, when he was writing songs like that, he wanted to do it as authentically as possible. So for a year he worked as a warden in Wensleydale Youth Hostel and walked these hills and met shepherds and talked to people and met ironstone miners and breathed it all in and wrote based on his experiences. For a few months he worked in an iron foundry on the banks of the Tees just so he could like more authentically write about it and sing about it. You know, what a real sort of commitment to songwriting that is.
Absolutely. And I mean, I suppose the reason why there wasn't a great tradition here before that is because of the transformation that went on.
Yeah.
You know, because the industry suddenly blossomed, suddenly arrived, suddenly grew, and that brought people and it brought stories that could be captured in song that weren't there before.
Yeah, and also like it was like a melting pot of Irish, Scottish, Welsh, all these people who came, who followed the steel, and also maybe. Yeah, because it was so relatively new, so we're talking about the 1840s when ironstone was discovered in these hills, and within a decade a tiny hamlet called Middlesbrough boomed into this town that Gladstone called the Infant Hercules and people called Ironopolis. It was all very quick, and I don't know, I just get the sense that people didn't really have time to sing the songs or collect songs that people were singing. So I think that was a real kind of commitment of, particularly like Ron Angel, when he was in the paratroopers after the war, Ron, and he was in Cyprus, and he heard all the gatherings every night. All the people would sing songs about where they came from, and all he could sing was like the Blade and Races, which was the Geordie song. So that kind of made him think, something's got to be done. We've got to look at our local heritage and write about it. And that's a big kind of philosophy of like Ewan McCall, in the singer circle and in the 50s and 60s, kind of persuading people, well, maybe actually telling people to sing songs about where they came from. And people think, that's quite I don't know, some people think that's a controversial sort of thing, or you can only sing a song about where you come from. What does that mean, where do you come from? It's kind of a toxic thing today, isn't it? But the fact that he kind of persuaded Luke Hill and Johnny Handel to stop singing sort of cowboy songs and to sing songs about Newcastle, that made such a difference to everything we're surrounded by now, this rich sort of singing heritage in the northeast.
And you've really taken that on, haven't you? You've taken on the task of writing about the people of this area.
Yeah, I think so. It was a long sort of evolution to get to that point. For when we first went to the folk clubs 20 years ago, we thought, well, there's no need for us to ever write songs, or we've certainly not got the skills to do it because all the songs are already there, and it should be our job to preserve them and pass them on. But once you sort of immersed in that world for so long, it becomes a natural thing that you're writing songs about, oh, hang on, Graham actually didn't write that many songs about Hartlepool. I live in Hartlepool. Oh, I can write a song about this thing that happened because Graham didn't write a song about that. And there isn't a song about that. I should write one.
And also history develops as well, so new things happen and then you think, oh, we should write about that and preserve that for future generations. Yeah. Sounds quite grandiose to say for future generations, but preserving a moment in time, I think a song can do that so well. Because the news is so fleeting, like a moment is like a headline news or a story happens and then people forget it. So if you preserve something that you really want people to know about, you can really do that in song.
Well, I can remember seeing Vin Garbett play in the 1970s in a folk club in Yorkshire.
Oh, wow.
And he was another great character, wasn't he? He was one of those performers of that age who's, and you've taken a leaf out of that book too, whose comedy is as much part of the act as the music
Yeah,
somehow. I mean,
yeah.
he told stories and he sang songs, but he was somebody else who was photographed up here, I think.
That's right, yeah, and there was the film Craig Hornby made about 10 years ago that traced that kind of year in the life of Vin, which is brilliant. Yeah, I think for Vin, like certainly in Teesside, he transcended like any kind of folk scene because he was hilarious, and people, you know, he used to play at working men's clubs, and I think often people kind of forgot that he actually sang like really serious songs. They thought, oh, I want to see Vin Garbutt, he's hilarious, but you know, he was really committed, passionate,
And great tunes as well.
Yes, and a great guitar player, as I recall.
and he was such a huge sort of inspiration to us, and seeing him in that kind of working men's environment and being hilarious, and it was almost like he sort of always intended to break a string in the first kind of song so he could just have more time to sort of relax into it and have the crack and get someone to fix a string for him while he had a joke.
Was he somebody who inspired you, David? Because I know you've got your parallel comedy career going on.
Yeah, I think it wasn't just like people like Vin, it was also just like the ordinary people who sang at the folk clubs. People would come after a day's work and they would sing songs, but they'd have stories and anecdotes. It's almost like they'd save up an anecdote of something that happened at the week. And so you get all these different characters as well. You were just expected to, you know, to say something and share, I suppose. So it wasn't just about sharing the songs, it was about sharing a story or a joke or whatever, and it's all part and parcel of the whole experience.
So Sean, what are you going to sing?
We're going to sing Gafo's Bus, which is our tribute to a Teesside humanitarian hero who for the past 10 years has fed thousands and thousands of people all across Europe, refugees and migrants, the homeless, the vulnerable, and he feeds them beans and rice out the side of a bus that he turned into a kitchen in his garage in Middlesbrough. And
And he just drives the bus out into Europe and
yeah,
finds people
and
who need help.
Yeah, and there's a whole team of volunteers who come with him. He's absolutely remarkable. I sort of had this image of him like rolling down the A19 and kind of saying goodbye to Roseberry Topping as he headed south.
So Roseberry Topping features in the song?
It does, yeah.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. And have you met him?
Yeah, several times, yeah. We made a little video singing the song on the bus, and he's come to a couple of gigs, and we always kind of tell the audience after we've done the song that he's in the room, and people just, you know, always stand ovation and such great warmth and love for him and everything he does.
And what does he think about the song when you first sang it to him?
Oh, he
what was
loves
the
it.
reaction?
So much so that when we met him, his phone went off and his ringtone was the song.
I must be very proud to have that.
Yeah. We have billed him for the royalties. Well, the mist was lifting from Roseberry Topping, and the moors were cold and green. And the driver swore there'd be no stopping as he made for the A19. And in the borough, lads and lasses were sleeping safe and still. When Gafo Hussein hit the road with 1,000,000 mouths to fill, his beans and rice and beans, and a hand when you fall. For there's a friendly face, a better place, and a future for us all. He couldn't bear the lads and the lasses' faces on the TV screens as they drowned and froze in hateful places with nothing but their dreams. So he bought a bus and he filled it up with beans and rice and tea. And on a winter's morn he headed south and crossed over the sea. His beans and rice and beans, and a hand when you fall. For there's a friendly face, a better place, and a future for us all. Now in Dunkirk we remember yet the soldiers on the sand. 800 ships we'll not forget that came to lend a hand. But here comes one more vessel now across the angry sea, to serve 3,000 meals a day, 10,000 cups of tea. His beans and rice and beans, and a hand when you fall. For there's a friendly face, a better place, and a future for us all. Now some have stared into his face and wondered if he's mad. But he knows he'd be in their place if it weren't for the chance he had. And the lads and lasses' hopeful faces are what drives him on. So is to Gafo and his bus, and a better world to come. It's beans and rice and beans, and a hand when you fall. For there's a friendly face, a better place, and a future for us all. Hey, it's beans and rice and beans, and a hand when you fall. For there's a friendly face, a better place, and a future for us all. For there's a friendly face, a better place, and a future for us all.
I'll never climb. All the kids already down? I think so.
I was going to say it's easier coming down, but it looks harder coming down.
We've done the long way, the hard way going up.
Oh, have you?
The kids were straight off, so we followed them and realised it was the hard way.
Oh dear. What's your advice?
Take your time.
Take the time. Okay.
As much as you like, there's no race.
Okay.
Look over the edge at the top.
Yeah, don't look over the edge, that's really scary.
Okay. Sean, listening to that song, a number of things occur to me, but the first one is about the deep responsibility that you must take on when you're writing a song about a living person. Has there been a situation where you've gone to approach a living person and said, I'd like to write a song about you, do you mind?
That was never the way it worked at first, partly because I always when I'm embarking a song, I'm never sure if I'm actually up to the task, and I've started some that I've got halfway through and I thought, I'm not quite getting this, I'm not the person to tell this story, and it's not felt appropriate. So that's part of the reason. So the process always was that, yeah, we'd be inspired by a story. In the case of Gafo's bus, it was a friend of ours, Michael Burns, who sort of sent me an email, said, have you heard about this great guy who comes from where you come from? He's a link, listen to it, I think you should write a song about him. And then it's kind of writing the song, arranging it with Michael and Dave, and then getting it to a position where it's as good as it can be, and then approaching the person saying, we've got a song about you, hope that's okay.
Has anyone ever said no? Everyone said, no, go away, stop bothering me.
No, but I mean,
because that's a risky run, isn't it? You know,
absolutely,
so
yeah.
don't intrude into
and
my
there's
privacy.
also the kind of the way that things can change. You know, you can write a song about someone from a certain point of view, and then 10 years later that person might think, oh, I don't really want to be associated with that anymore, or so.
But I am thinking about a programme you made for Radio 4, I think, about Richard Moore.
That's right, yeah. So actually, driving in the car one day, I heard this programme on Radio 4, and it was Maxine Peake, who's one of my favourite actors, talking about what it's like portraying real people. And in the documentary, she met some of the people she portrayed. It was amazing. Their responses to it, her integrity as an actor and getting as much information and being as honest and as vulnerable as possible in that role. And then I realised the producer on the programme was actually Elizabeth Foster, who we'd done stuff before. And so I gave Lizzie a call and said, oh, that just reminded me so much about what it's like writing songs about real people and how they are affected and how they're involved in it. And I've never approached someone beforehand saying, can I write a song about you? Do you want to be involved? How is this going to affect the process? So that became the idea of the documentary, A Life in Song. We got in touch with Richard Moore, whose story had been given to us by a mutual friend. And Richard has this extraordinary story which starts in his hometown of Derry in Northern Ireland, where he was blinded by a rubber bullet in the height of the Troubles. And
fired by a member of the army.
Yeah, fired by a British soldier, and went on to lead a fulfilling life, wrapped in the love of his family and community. But then in 2007 achieved this like decades-long ambition to meet the soldier who had fired the bullet when he was a kid, and to publicly forgive him and befriend him. It's an amazing story of forgiveness. So then we got in touch with Richard and said, oh, we'd love to write a song about you, Richard, is that okay? And then he talked to us for several hours, and then, but you know what, it didn't really alter the sort of process of it, because I think there'd be probably loads of moments when I could have just picked up the phone and said, oh, Richard, can I just ask you about this again? But it never felt like the right thing to do, and eventually the song was done and we performed it to him.
What was that like?
Well, it was during COVID, so it was down the line, but he was there. And it was funny though, because his first response, we didn't know if it was like positive or negative, but he just went, oh my God.
And then
you know how to take that.
Well, I think what's really good about it is, so many times, including with Richard, is we become really good friends with the people. So it's so weird in a way, because to us they're kind of almost like celebrities, especially for Sean, who sort of like spent all this time studying them and writing a song about them. And there must be a sense, even though you feel a connection with them, there's a sense of otherness, surely, in the fact that you're writing a song about them. And then you just meet them, and you have the crack with them, and they're just down-to-earth people, and you just have a laugh with them. I think that's been one of the most gratifying things of it, the fact that we've made so many great friendships with Richard and Gafo and so many other people that we've written songs about as well.
And Michael, it must give you a emotional charge when you sing the song on stage, when you have a picture of the person it's about that
Absolutely,
you've met,
especially when we've met him. You know, I teach in Stockton here, and I got him over to do a conference for the kids. And the thing about Richard, he's so relatable, and his story's so powerful that the kids really connected to him. He's really incredible man, but with a real sort of deep sense of hope in his story. And I think that's something that we all take from.
Well, and that's something that I recognise as a theme in all your songs, that you're not giving me the bleak version.
Do you know, I
it
think
would be
that's-
very easy to give me a bleak version of
What's the
life
B-side,
now, wouldn't
right?
it?
Yeah, exactly.
But it would, wouldn't it? You know, it'd be
Well, I
very
think
easy
that's
to
it.
give the dark side of
A
life.
lot of the songs stem from a place of darkness at their centre, or come from a negative, but then have a real positive outcome, or it's what the people have done in their lives to turn it around. You know, so on a surface level, someone could say, oh, we've written a song about, you know, the plight of refugees and migrants and the homeless. Or, you know, but the flip side really is we're singing a song about a humanitarian hero who's done something about it. You know, for the Richard Moore story, you know, we're singing a song about a man who was blinded. But the flip side is the story of forgiveness and the fact that he's become friends with the man who blinded him, and the fact that he goes on and inspires other people. So I think all of our songs are like that. I don't think we've really got any songs where it's just bleak.
No, but I wonder if you're in danger of giving a slightly false picture of life, you know, in the sense that, you know, always in your songs, you know, hope is triumphing over tragedy.
Well, I'd like to think there's always hope in the dark, though, isn't there? You have to kind of hold out hope for that.
How do you feel about that, Sean? You're writing lyrics often, aren't you? And
Yeah.
you're picking the subject.
Yeah, I kind of do it for my own sort of hopefulness, really, and like to find, you know, there's some sort of bleak things out there, and interestingly, other sort of avenues and projects I've done, I have written more kind of antagonistic songs and tried to put myself in a different position. You know, I wrote, got a thing at the minute called Peter's Field, which is all about the Peterloo Massacre, but that was born out of a project in 2019 called Rising Up Peterloo 2019, and the task was comparing the themes of Peterloo to the themes of 2019, and so I wrote a really sort of antagonistic song from the point of view of someone who sends hate-filled messages online to Greta Thunberg and stuff like that, and that was a really emotional sort of place to put myself in, and maybe looking back on it wasn't really the right sort of thing to do, but
What wasn't the right thing to do? Why?
well, I don't know. I'd have rather written a song about her that was celebratory and sang it with the three of us on stage and tried to inspire people rather than getting into a place of like hatred and trying to tell a story of that. Maybe, I mean, we've never actually performed it live. But
Until now. We've got her on Twitter.
No, but I mean, it's an interesting thing, because in these times of fractious relationships between different people and division and so on, maybe there is a room for music and songs to offer some kind of healing and some kind of hope.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what we sort of aim to do, I suppose. And I sort of feel, you know, a lot of our sort of 1930s kind of inspired stuff is kind of, I look back and I think some of it's a bit sort of black and white, you know, goodness and darkness, and where's the line in between? Where's the change? Where's the hope for people who's you know, there's people in you know, we know or heroes of ours in the folk scene who've got kind of like right-wing kind of fascist family histories, you know. I think lots of people do. Should I be writing something more sensitive about that, or I'm not sure really.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe one day.
That was an amazing point for someone just to... someone, literally, three people, I think, have just passed us, just as well, I've got family members who are fascists. And, we all have. We all have. Tell us your story. I should write about that.
But obviously, you did the ballad of Johnny Longstaff, yes, which was about somebody who went to fight against fascists.
That's right, yeah.
In the Spanish Civil War.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a really emotional piece, isn't it? And that's a full-length drama, if you like, that you put together.
That's right, yeah, that was a labour of love writing that, and it all came from Johnny's son Duncan approaching us at a gig 10 years ago saying, I'd love it if you could write a song about my dad, and here's a list of all the things he did in the 1930s, hunger marches, the Battle of Cable Street, the Spanish Civil War, the Second World War, organising a strike in a youth hostel when he was 15, and the special thing about that was that we have Johnny's voice, because before he died he recorded it for the Imperial War Museum, and the show, the album is Johnny's voice with all the songs weaving in and out of it. So that's been really precious. And thinking about Johnny today, actually, because Johnny in his retirement got really into painting, and one of my sort of prized possessions at home on a bookshelf is a painting of Roseberry Topping painted by Johnny Longstaff himself.
Wow,
yeah.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I mean that just shows you how iconic this little hill is to people around here.
Let's keep walking up it. Now we're climbing up. We're starting to climb more steeply, aren't we, through a wooded section of the hill, and the sun is shining brightly today through the leaves and dappling the path here. Michael, have you walked up here a lot?
I've been up a few times. Yeah, it's really nice.
Just today, in fact. 3 times today, haven't you, Michael?
I started at 7 this morning, yeah. No, as Sean says, it's so iconic around here. Everyone's been up Roseberry Topping, but you know, I first went as a kid, and then. But I haven't been up for about 2 or 3 years. But I tell you what, it's awful when it's raining though, so this is really nice today.
It's wonderful, isn't it? And one of the great things about it, the reason why everyone sees it as a challenge, presumably, is that it is a big feature in the landscape. So the area around it is quite flat, isn't it? And suddenly this hill pops up out of the ground.
His silence speaks volumes there.
No, it's just he's run out of breath.
A silence of agreement from Michael.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get some oxygen here.
It's quite hard work going uphill and talking at the same time.
I think it wasn't always
Especially when you're giving us a piggyback as well, mate. Thank you very much for that.
It wasn't always so distinctively peaked. It's about 100 years ago there was a kind of big collapse at the summit, which gives it this lovely sort of Matterhorn kind of image. But I think before that it wasn't as striking.
Where does the name come from, do you know?
Roseberry Topping, I think it's there's some sort of link to a rare link to a kind of pagan and Norse stuff with like Odin. I think it's kind of a link to Woden's Day, Odin's Buddy, Roseberry, that kind of.
I thought we were writing a song there, Mr. Cooney. Odin. Got a bit of an insight, Matthew, into the songwriting process there we were talking about earlier. That's how Graham did it, actually.
There's a quite striking sort of Anglo-Saxon legend about Prince Oswy, whose mother was told that your child will perish, your child's going to drown. So she took the little prince up to the top of Roseberry Topping in the hope that would not happen. But when she was asleep in the night, the child managed to get away and drowned in a stream.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Podcast has taken a turn here, Matthew.
I know. It's suddenly got into a dark place.
The fun anecdote we were referring to earlier.
Yeah, that's.
Now, just to say, I know it's hot, isn't it? Yeah. But just to say, we've come out into the open from the woods, and we can now see the outcrop of rock, which is higher than I'd thought. Yeah. Actually, it's quite a big.
I think it's deceptive. I think the path will kind of loop around and give us a. We're not going to be scrambling.
We're not hand over foot going up, not roped together. Oh, I'm glad you're here, David, because
thank you.
As an amateur at this podcasting game, I wanted to get some advice from you, and I did have the great privilege of taking part in the Young 'Uns podcast at Folk East.
Yes, well, I'm very much an amateur in the fact that I haven't even released that episode yet, Matthew. So.
Well, it's obviously a long time in the editing. That was about a year and a half ago. And tell us more about how your comedy career is going on, because I saw you in Edinburgh year before last.
Yeah.
And you were doing a show there in a cellar of some sort. But you've now got a show on Radio 4, I think.
Yes, I'm recording this it'll be out by the time this is released, but I'm literally recording it in 2 days.
Right.
So
what's the format?
It's very much storytelling, I suppose, and taking things, I suppose, in a kind of sequential order. I've got a couple of stories about childhood and about my first, what I'm calling comedy gig, which took place at the age of 5 at a teddy bear's picnic. And we had to do a presentation about our teddy bears, and all the other kids just prepared one sentence. And I had this very elaborate thing planned with a teddy which had a voice box in it. And clearly none of the other kids had seen a teddy with a voice box before, and they were completely blown away. And I did this whole sketch. And it probably, in reality, it probably didn't go as well as I've now remembered it going, but I kind of view it.
Like you brought the house down.
Yes, I did. I feel it sort of went. But when you're a child, these things kind of make a massive impression. So it starts off like that. And then I suppose it's also just stories about navigating through the world, like travelling the world, doing folk music and comedy. But as someone who's blind, therefore, it kind of gets you into these weird dramas and adventures because you meet all sorts of people who are very keen to maybe offer help. And
but not necessarily
offering help, but then taking you completely out of your way, and all sorts of weird dramas and stories happen.
Tell me what's happened. Give me an example.
Well, I mean, just like a taxi driver dropped me off at the wrong house and I didn't know where I was, and this is before I had a mobile with GPS or anything like that. And it was 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had my accordion on because I just come from the folk club, and I'm looking somewhere, and I'm also desperate for the toilet. So basically, there's a whole story about what happened when I didn't realise I was positioned in someone's garden, and I accidentally exposed myself to somebody who opened the window because my accordion unfurled itself mid-urinate, started going, and then this person opened their window to see a man standing in their garden with his penis out with the accordion playing. And so it's the outfall of that. But talking about a message of hope,
yes.
Weirdly, that story then inspired a head teacher. Well, not that particular bit. There's a bit how me and my dad found each other, where because he didn't have a mobile.
So your dad was coming out to look for you.
So he went to look for me, but
right.
Because he didn't have a mobile, the only way we could communicate was by car horn and accordion. So he drove around peeping the horn, and I played the accordion, and I walked in the direction of where I thought the horn came from. He drove in the right direction.
What a duo.
And so a head teacher... Oh, it's inspired an album, an experimental jazz album. Got commissioned on Radio 3.
What did the head teacher do?
So this head teacher saw me tell this story at a festival about how me and my dad had found each other, and he played it in an assembly to secondary school kids. And it was like, and he put one person at one side of the hall with a horn, and he blindfolded them, and he put the other person with a little toy accordion. And this man told me about it, this teenager. He said, I was you. He sat next to me on the bus. He said, oh my God, you're David Eagle. He said, I was you. And my life was going like off the rails a little bit. And my parents had got divorced, and I'd gone off the rails. And as I managed to find my friend, I thought, if you can do what you can do with the limited resources you've got, maybe there's hope for me.
That's fantastic,
So,
isn't it? That must be really heartwarming for you.
So a story that started from an accidental bit of indecent exposure ended up saving someone's life, or at least, helping them. So
that's brilliant.
A song of hope.
It's not just through song then, it's through story
Sean
too.
is yet to write a song about this.
Yeah, I know.
I think
he's working on the lyrics
Well,
now.
he's mainly struggling to find a rhyme for accordion, I think. I think that's the only drawing back.
That's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Now, we're coming to another steep bit here, aren't we?
Yeah, and we're looking at the distinctive face of Roseberry Topping in front of us. And
what can we see up there now?
Yeah, we can see tiny stick-like people on the top of Roseberry Topping in front of us.
Big outcrop of rock.
Yeah, really striking. And it was from probably about here that a photograph was taken on the night of the full moon of February 2001 by a local photographer called Steve MacDonald. And that photo inspired the song that we're going to sing next. Basically, he captured, by chance, although some people later suggested he set up the whole thing, but he captured this picture of this tiny couple kissing on the summit with an enormous snow moon behind them, the moon of February.
Whoa, what an image.
Yeah,
what a great
it
image.
was brilliant. Yeah, so the story was that he went back and looked at what he captured and then spotted them. Other people said, oh, you set the whole thing up, didn't you? But whether he did or not, it's such a beautiful picture.
And that inspired you to write a romantic song,
Yeah.
which you're going to sing for us.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Your cheeks were like snow, your hair was a storm, your skin was so soft, your lips were so warm, and love was young and new beneath the roseberry moon. And I thought of the lads and the lasses gone by,
who found love in foundries and ironstone mines, and who stood here like me and you beneath a roseberry moon. Roseberry moon, roseberry moon, roseberry moon. I was born in a grave, and so were you. For most of my life I never knew, and I could pretend it's not true. Beneath the roseberry moon, and if love can save us from what we have done, let love be as deep and love be as long as the love that I felt for you beneath the roseberry moon. Roseberry moon, roseberry moon, roseberry moon, roseberry moon, roseberry moon, roseberry moon.
So beautiful to hear that sung here. Have you sung it here before?
No, never.
But one of the things about singing it here is that we can start to see the view.
Yeah.
And the view over to that side is the combination of countryside and very industrial landscape. What are we looking at over there?
Yeah, you can see industrial Teesside, what's left of it. You can see what Megson, a previous artist who were on your podcast, described as the smoke of home. That's a great song. It's good to see the smoke of home.
London.
You think you can see London?
Oh, that's their butler, London. They pretend to be Teesside and working class, but he's got his own butler, Patrick.
And this beautiful valley of Tees that so many of our heroes have sang about in songs so wonderfully.
But you imagine in that song, in Roseberry Moon, you imagine some of the industrial workers, you know, who might have fallen in love here.
Yeah. There was a reference to ironstone mining, the evidence of which is around us.
Can you imagine people escaping from the dirt and the grime and the smoke and the grit and coming up here for fresh air?
Absolutely, yeah. But of course, that's only within sort of living memory that people used to do that. I mean, this was owned, you know, by the, well, it still is, but I mean, it was all private hunting grounds for you know, centuries and centuries. That's what we forget. We kind of assume that it's always been like this and it's always been free and available to whoever wants to it. But it's you know, the rights that we have of walking on places like this were hard won, you know, and that's an element of the Johnny Longstaff story, and why that's, I think, why Roseberry Topping was important to him as well. He took part in the Access to the Country campaign in the 30s and the 40s.
And this is now National Trust maintained,
Yeah,
isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
We've got Captain Cook's monument sort of behind where you are over there, Matthew.
Oh, just on the top of the hill.
Yeah. So James Cook, famous son of Cleveland, who grew up in the shadow of Roseberry Topping, and you know, and neither of his parents could read. His dad was a labourer in Canny Yatton, or Great Ayton as it's known, and you know, he would have known this hill as a boy, and then before moving on to Whitby and becoming an apprentice to a grocer, you know, came from nothing, James Cook, and went on to, you know, achieve incredible feats of exploration and scientific development, and you know, and discovering all those new lands as well. And one of the first Europeans to discover, you know, Eastern Australia and New Zealand, and
he lived in the village just down here.
Yeah, he lived in Great Ayton. Yeah.
Sean and I were in a production from of someone we've mentioned called Richard Granger, who used to write these folk operas about local heroes, one of them being James Cook. And I was in it, and it was like the opposite of being typecast, because he picked me. I don't know if he did this deliberately as some kind of joke, but he picked me to play the boy who first sighted land. It was like the opposite of method.
Ironic casting. Well, let's get up to the top, shall we?
Yeah, let's
climb
do
up.
it. To the top.
Right.
Michael, how are you celebrating your 20 years together?
Well, we've done a couple of tours this year, which has been really nice. And what's been great has been almost going back to the very start, sort of this trip down memory lane, nostalgia of songs that were written, that we either heard in the folk club when we first started, or some of Sean's earlier songs like Stockton Town and these sort of early songs.
And they stand the test of time.
Oh, they
presumably.
certainly do, yeah. And particularly for us this year in the area, because it's the 200th anniversary of the Stockton to Darlington Railway this year. So
I think it's today.
It was. Is it today?
I've been told it was today, or was it yesterday?
It was yesterday, I think.
Right. So you're like 10% of the Stockton and Darlington Railway. 20
We
years versus
certainly like
200. So there's a resonance for you in the anniversary as well, is there?
There certainly is, yeah, and all of the sort of local songs for us. And there's been one particular song that we've been singing this year that we recorded on an album in 2012. An album called When Our Grandfather Said No, one of Sean's songs called The Battle of Stockton. It's been great to sing that again, because the sort of context of that song feels very.
What's the
very
song about?
current. Mr. Cooney.
10th of September 1933, fascism on the rise, Mosley's Black Shirts recently formed, 100 of them bust in from Manchester and Newcastle to hold a rally in the middle of Stockton, and a huge sort of local anti-fascist response, about 2,000 people who gathered in Stockton and chased the Black Shirts back across the river. And growing up I had no idea of it, and lots of people kind of who we knew sang songs, local songs, didn't really seem to be aware of it really, and it's only kind of in recent years it's kind of been remembered more as this moment of local people saying no, we don't want any of this.
Quite a big moment, quite a huge event.
Yeah.
And do you think there are resonances now in the kind
really
of atmosphere, the feverish
Oh,
atmosphere
really?
that we have
So I
now?
wrote it in like 2011, and it feels definitely different emotions singing it now with everything that's happening with this kind of rise of the right and the claiming of the flag and this toxicity and all this talk of blame of minorities. It's it feels a powerful sort of story to put to people, and I think how we do it really. I mean, we obviously sing quite a lot of left-wing themed, inspired socialist songs, but the aim is always just to leave the song do the talking itself rather than the singer or the introduction of it, and let people sort of draw from it what they want really. And some people take it as this is a great piece of our history, my granddad's generation. Other people it's more of a pertinent, well hang on, this is what's happening now,
And there are lessons to be learned from examining history, obviously, aren't there?
Absolutely. Right, the steps are getting steeper.
They're getting steeper, aren't they? Yeah. Now it's stone underfoot rather than earth.
And now we're coming up almost to the top, Matthew.
Yes.
Oh, and the North Sea is looking beautiful.
Wow.
Thank you.
Some view. Quite a large number of people have made it up on this sunny Sunday afternoon. And there's a trig point here on the top, perhaps not surprisingly. But if we look out to our right, we can see the sea, we can see the wind farm running along the shore. What are we looking at, Sean?
Looking at the northeast coast. To our left there we've got the industry of sort of Billingham, and on the banks of the Tees, heading towards Middlesbrough, we can just see the North Gare protruding out into the North Sea. Oh, it's beautiful.
And actually the view goes on all the way around us, doesn't it? Because there's moorland and
right
woodland
into the
behind
North
us.
Yorkshire Moors and James Cook's monument just opposite where we are.
Bright green as well over there. even though it's late September, still quite a lot of leaves on the trees. It's spectacular.
Yeah.
Oh, it's it's worth it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely stunning.
Yes, it's definitely worth a long walk, a lovely view at the
Is
end.
that what you're
Isn't it?
feeling, David? And are you going to sing a song up
We'd
here?
love to sing Ring of Iron, inspired by this view below us, which has changed significantly. When Graham wrote the song in the 60s, there's a lot more industry, a lot more smoke down there, and he called it like a ring of iron encircling the whole Teesside conurbation, and but that longing to sort of get out of it and to find quiet, lonely places, which is a line from one of Graham's most beautiful songs, and break through that ring of iron and experience other things as well.
It's all around the town, all around the town. It's all around the town. This hard ring of iron.
There's grime all over the ground,
Grime all over the ground. There's grime all over the ground.
inside
This ring of iron. It's all around the town. All around the town. It's all around the town. This hard ring of iron.
There's smoke up in the sky, smoke up in the sky.
There's smoke up in the sky.
Above this ring of iron.
And it's all around the town. All around the town. It's all around the town. This hard ring of iron.
But there's hills and pastures green, hills and pastures green. There's hills and pastures green outside this ring of iron.
And it's all around the town. All around the town.
It's
All around the town. This hard ring of iron.
So it's out of town I'm bound, out of town I'm bound, out of town I'm bound. I'll break this ring of iron.
And it's all around the town. All around the town. It's all around the town. This hard ring of iron. And it's all around the town. All around the town. It's all around the town. This hard ring of iron. Well done, Patrick.
Oh, thank you,
Thank you. Your turn, everybody. We're going in alphabetical order.
Thank you so much, guys.
Oh,
that was
pleasure.
wonderful. And what a great place to hear it sung with the backdrop of that spectacular view. It's been brilliant and so good to have you on again. Could you come on again in 7 years?
Yeah, we look
Put it in your diary.
Thanks, Matthew.
brilliant. Oh, what a day.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of Folk on Foot as much as we enjoyed making it. There are over 60 episodes of Folk on Foot for you to explore, featuring amazing artists like Eliza Carthy, Johnny Flynn, The Unthanks, Corrine Polwood, Chris Drever, Sandra Kerr, Catherine Tickell and many, many more. So please do explore our back catalogue. And if you like what we do, we really need your support to keep going. You can become a member and get great rewards, or you can simply buy us a coffee. To do either, and to sign up for our ad-free version, just go to folkonfoot.com/support us. Every penny we get goes back into making more episodes, so please do support us if you can.